Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 40 of the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. I'm your co-host, Josh. Ladies and gentlemen, the best co-host in the game. What's up, JG?
Josh, Ross, what's going on, man? How you guys doing?
We good, bro. How are you, man?
Life is good, man. Can't complain.
I'm glad life is going well with you, man. I want to give you a special shout out, bro, before we get started. Ladies and gentlemen, you make sure you like, follow, subscribe, check out Club JG Podcast. Great interview with the legendary Muggsy Bogues on there. Congratulations to you, my brother. Well deserved. You a young Brian Gumble in the making, sir. I'm learning from you, so I appreciate that.
Hey, man, high praise. I appreciate that. Muggsy Bogues was awesome. Definitely a great interview. So that's gonna be dropping this week on Club JG. Appreciate that shout out.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, y'all like, follow, subscribe to Club JG Podcast. My brother doing great things. Ladies and gentlemen, the best guy here on Highly Opinionated, best producer, the best editor, again, the guy that makes us look good, makes us look clean, makes us look fresh. Ross, what's going on, bro?
What's good, Josh? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. It's no basketball on tonight. That's my only complaint, but it'll be here soon enough. And I just want to say, I already told him behind the scenes, but like I want to second what you said to JG. That's a big look for the Club JG Podcast, and I'm definitely going to be tuning in on Tuesday for that.
Man, love it, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Real talk. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, bro. I feel like this is a show of opportunity. Not just for us, but for everybody that comes on, whether they got a brand, they got a line, they got podcasts, they selling products, whatever. It's just a great opportunity, man. It's good to show a brother some love, man. It's good to show somebody out here doing something and doing what they want to do and doing it in a positive way. So, again, bro, all salute to you, bro. Congratulations on that interview. Definitely, people check that out.
No doubt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for watching episode 39. Appreciate you for tuning in to episode 40 here of Highly Opinionated. We aim to be the best sports show out. We appreciate all the love. We appreciate the comments, the the subscriptions, the everything, the DMs. We appreciate it all. We try to get the best guests out here for you guys. So again, we appreciate all the love and support you guys have for Highly Opinionated, and we aim to be the best sports show out. Ross, can you let them know where they can follow us at on our social media?
Yes, sir. Y'all can follow us on Instagram, Highly Opinionated __. Follow us on TikTok at Highly Opinionated _SS. And follow us on Twitter or X at Highly O_SS. Y'all already on the YouTube, so go ahead, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we will be sure to comment back.
Absolutely. JG, ready to get episode 40 started, my brother.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's start off with some NFL news as we always do. I start off with the trade with the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. The Philadelphia Eagles have traded Bryce Huff to the San Francisco 49ers for a late middle round pick. How do you like this move for the 49ers? How do you like this move for the Eagles?
The Eagles have an embarrassment of riches on their front line, so they won't miss Bryce Huff too often. And he was kind of actually struggling really just with the scheme that the Eagles were having for him, so he didn't really have the best year. With this trade, it helps the 49ers, kind of brush up their pass rush, which has kind of been dealt with a myriad of injuries over the years. And it also brings back Bryce Huff with his old coach, Robert Saleh, former head coach in the New York Jets, and now he's the DC with the San Francisco 49ers once again. Knows Bryce Huff, knows how to get the best out of him, so this is a good move for both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, this move saves the Eagles about $8 million in cap space.
Saves a lot of money.
That's a great move for the Philadelphia Eagles to get to save some money. And like you said, with Bryce Huff going back to play for Robert Saleh had him with the New York Jets. He had his most productive season in 2023 when Robert Saleh was the head coach. He had 10 sacks. Playing with Robert Saleh as the head coach. Gives the 49ers more versatility on that defensive line. Like you said, I feel like the Eagles and the 49ers might have the two best defensive lines in the NFL as far as like talent, stockpiling talent, and just giving you rotation after rotation. Obviously, when I say that, speaking of last season, what the 49ers had and what the Eagles had, just rotation to rotation. Obviously, the Eagles lost Milton Williams. The 49ers, they lost a few guys during free agency as well. So, but two best teams as far as just giving you rotations of defensive linemen. So, like you said, being reunited with Robert Saleh, I definitely feels like he'll get the best out of Bryce Huff. Quick aside before we move on to the next topic. Do you think, not asking you to pick a division winner, but who do you think has a better chance of winning that division next year, the Eagles or the 49ers?
I still got to go with the Eagles, even though I know the NFC East has improved. I know the DC Commanders are coming, especially after the great season they had getting to the NFC Championship against Philly. The Cowboys actually upgraded in the offseason by bringing in George Pickens to pair with CeeDee Lamb, so you expect the offense to be a lot better. But I just think, and I know the NFC East has never had a repeat champion in, 20 years or something like that. But just looking at this Eagles team, I don't see like where the weakness is going to be. Like they drafted really well once again. They have the best offensive line in football. They have a really tough running game that's hard to stop with Saquon and Jalen Hurts. They have the weapons on the outside with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You have all you need on offense to score. Your defense, I don't think is going to be that much of a drop-off. I just got finished talking about their defensive line led by Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I don't really see much of a drop-off there. So I think the Eagles have a better chance of winning the NFC East. Whereas with the Niners, we don't expect them to have the year that they had this past season. They had a bunch of injuries they were dealing with, but they paid Brock Purdy. You're going to get Christian McCaffrey back. George Kittle's going to be back healthy. Ayuk will maybe be back at some point during the season, but I don't know about the weapons of the 49ers outside of Kittle. I mean, I like Ricky Pearsall and Greg and Jennings over there, but we're just not sure. We're not sure like if down to down, can these guys really be that effective of a weapon for Brock Purdy outside of Kittle and Christian McCaffrey? And then with that division, I think the Rams are going to be the ones that take the NFC West. I think the Rams they were kind of like flying under the radar last year, kind of hovering around 500 before they got hot late. I think the Rams have everything they need to take this division early, and it won't be much of a surprise in my opinion.
Yeah, so you think the Eagles have a better chance? I'm going to take the 49ers only because I think it's a lot of things that work in their favor. They got embarrassed last season, had a disappointing season last year. They have new faces coming in. So obviously new faces will bring new energy, new enthusiasm to the team. But secondly, and most importantly for me, I just look at their schedule. Like they have a last place schedule. And that talent that they have on that roster, like with a last place schedule, they can easily win 9-10 games just rolling out of bed with that talent. So whereas though the Eagles, I think the Cowboys would be better. I think obviously people are high on the Commanders. I'm not as high on them as the rest of the world is, but I think they'll be formidable. And I think the Giants will be better. Now, do I think the Giants will win 10, 11 games? No. But they have a starting quarterback in the room. They drafted really well, in my opinion. They have basically have their quarterback now, Russell Wilson. They have their quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart. And we already know they have a great pass rush with Burns and the guys that they have on that defensive line. So for me, I think the NFC East would be better. Whereas though I think Seattle will be, in my opinion, in last place in that division. And it'll be Arizona, the Rams, and the 49ers trying to fight it out for that NFC West. So I'm going to take the 49ers in that.
I agree with your point about the Giants, and then they drafted Abdul Carter, and the Giants are going to have a sneaky great defense next year. I think that, and look, a lot of the attention may be taken away from the Giants because we're not expecting a lot from their offense, but they might sneakily have one of the best defenses in the NFL this upcoming season, adding Abdul Carter to an already really good defense.
Absolutely. Our next topic is we have two retirements to get to. Let's start off with veteran cornerback Ronald Darby. He's retiring from the Houston Texans. He was a member of the Super Bowl 52 Philadelphia Eagles team that beat the New England Patriots in that Super Bowl. He's retiring from the Houston Texans. And we also have Lions All-Pro and Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow. He is retiring from the Detroit Lions. Which one you want to start with? You want to start with Ronald Darby? You want to start with Frank Ragnow? It's up to you.
I would say I would start with Ragnow. That's actually a sneaky big news for the Lions because having a longtime center like that retire automatically changes your offensive line. Like your offensive line is as good as your center, in my opinion, because he's the guy that's directing everything, and then he's obviously snapping the ball to the quarterback. So the Lions, you would expect, hopefully have drafted his replacement. But you imagine it might be some hiccups there because of the continuity you had with the same guy doing the same things all those years. So, but congrats on a great career to him. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Lions rebound from there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Lions. They didn't draft a center. They drafted a guard in the second round, Tate Ratledge from Georgia, and then they drafted Miles Frazier, offensive guard from LSU in the 5th round. So they didn't even draft a center. So I don't even know if they were really prepared for this move by Frank Ragnow. I think this is a major blow to the Lions, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They're replacing an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, and other than quarterback, the most important person on their offense, which is the center, like you said, with the communications at the line of scrimmage, getting the other 4 offensive linemen right, and building that trust with the quarterback that who you snap the ball to. So I'm not, obviously it's too early to give an NFL prediction, but I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I do not think the Lions will win 15 games next year, and I do not think the Lions will win the NFC North next year.
The NFC North could probably be the best, if not one of the best divisions in football by far, because you look at all 4 teams, like the Packers are there. They just made the playoffs. Obviously Detroit made the playoffs. The Bears have gotten better. And then you got the Vikings. I don't see the Vikings taking that big of a drop off going from Sam Darnold to J.J. McCarthy. I think Justin Jefferson is still there. Jordan Addison is still there. They have a lot of faith in J.J. McCarthy, and head coach Kevin O'Connell knows what he's doing. So that's going to be a tough division. So it's very. Could I see the Lions not making the playoffs next year? Not quite there yet, but definitely what you said about obviously the replacements they have to do on the coaching staff. But now with Ragnow at center, I don't think it's too far out of the question to say.
It's not off the board. The Lions damn sure can miss the playoffs next year. They can go from winning 15 games and not making the playoffs. The Bears will be better. Let's see what J.J. McCarthy is. We expect the Packers and Jordan Love to take a step. I know most people thought he was going to take that step last season. He kind of regressed a little bit. So let's see if he can get his rightful place back to the good graces or to the great rankings of quarterbacks, or to very good to great rankings of quarterbacks. So that division, man, that's tough, man. Again, man, like John, like you again, Club JG podcast, another shout out to you, bro. Like when you working with people, you gotta. It's all about chemistry. And if the chemistry isn't right, that could definitely mess up the flow. And again, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and a new center, man, that's a lot to get over with the Detroit Lions, man. That's a lot.
Jordan Love's biggest problem is just turning the ball over. If he just cuts down on that, I think the Packers would be a lot better than what they were last year. I think a lot of those games, Jordan Love was being just absolutely reckless with the football. So I think that's a big reason why they lost most of the games they did.
Yeah, Jordan Love definitely had to take better care of the ball. And one more thing about Frank Ragnow. Jared Goff is a different quarterback inside of a dome and outside.
Yep.
So again, the Detroit Lions got to get that center position right. Let's move on to Ronald Darby. He called it a career. 11-year pro. Great career in the NFL. Second round pick in the 2015 NFL draft. So I'm sorry, I said 11 seasons. 10-year pro, retires after 10 seasons. Drafted 2015 second round, 50th pick. Just quick thoughts on him. Solid NFL career. He had eight interceptions his whole career. He was a solid NFL player. Wasn't the best corner, wasn't the worst. You could get by with him being out there. He did his job. He played his technique the best way he could. Again, he was a solid NFL corner. So for me, to Ronald Darby, salute on a good NFL career. To play 10 seasons in the NFL, man, that's a lot. It's not easy. So salute to Ronald Darby on his 10-year NFL career, man. Hopefully his next situation is his best situation.
We give respect to everyone who is, has the courage and the endurance to lace them up year after year. And playing such a violent sport such as football for as long as you can, to do 10 years, that's impressive. A lot of people, everyone can't do that. So that's something we can't take for granted. So, like you said, Ronald Darby, very serviceable corner. I actually liked him when we had him on the Ravens for a year. He was just a very solid number 2, number 3 corner. But if we had injuries, he was a great guy to plug in there for sure. So hey, I got a number of respect for the guy. Congratulations on a long career, and best on the next chapters.
Absolutely. Definitely wish him the best in the next chapter, his next career endeavors, whatever that may be for him. Our last topic on NFL news is Madden 2026 has a cover boy, and it is, as you can see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, it is Saquon Barkley. He is on the cover of Madden 26, hurdling over the competition. Uh, so I have two quick questions. Do you still believe in the Madden curse? That's the first question. Let's do that. Do you still believe in the Madden curse?
I definitely do. Something is just telling me that Saquon is in for like a down year. I really hope he does. And look, I knock on wood. I really hope it's not with injury. But but I don't know. I'm just going off gut feeling right now. Going off the history of like the Madden curse. Like some guys have beat it. Lamar beat it. Josh Allen beat it. Other guys out there. McCaffrey, not so much. I don't think so. But I don't know. With Saquon had a transformative year. Like he really changed the way that NFL scouts looked at running backs compared to what it was like a couple years ago. There was conversation of possibly taking out the running back position altogether, which is crazy to think about. But that's how much running backs were getting undermined. Just really like just pushed aside like it's not an important position anymore. We've seen the best teams that win can run the football. We can talk about this being a passing league and all that. We want to see the 400-yard, 500-yard passing yard games and all that. We as fans like that, sure, but real football fans, understand that if you can't run the football, you will not be winning a championship. So I think Saquon Barkley had a transformative year to where like now you're looking at guys like Ashton Genty getting picked high, and he's really shaped that for the future of the position. But just given what I know about the Madden curse off my gut, I just have a bad feeling that Saquon's going to have like a down year, and it's funny to say because he had a phenomenal, almost broke Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record during the year. So, all right, if you don't hit that, I can't necessarily say it's a down year, but I just feel like for Saquon Barkley's standards, I just kind of wonder if it's going to be even lower than that.
That's a take right there. I give you that. I do believe in the Madden curse. We've seen players on the cover, whether it's Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We've seen them kind of like defeat the Madden curse, but for an extended period of time, it was a curse to be on the cover of Madden. Like you said, I do think Saquon, his numbers will regress, but I don't necessarily think that's a product of him. I think that will be a little bit a little bit more of the development of Jalen Hurts. You do got Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Like they want the ball too. You feel me? Like they feel like you shouldn't have to just run Saquon into the ground. So, or run him. I shouldn't say run him into the ground, but run him as much as they did last season. To your point about running backs, let's think about what Saquon Barkley did for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's think about what Derrick Henry did for your Baltimore Ravens. Let's think about what running backs that got drafted, especially in lower rounds, i.e. Bucky Irvin did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I feel like obviously Saquon showed that he was the best running back last season in the NFL. So he definitely showed that running back should never be outlawed in the NFL. That's stupid. Some of the best players in the NFL history are running backs. Whether it's, when I say this name, obviously when I say names, I'm strictly talking about you on the football field. You can go back to Jim Brown. You can go back to O.J. Simpson. You can go back to Marcus Allen, Roger Craig, Marshall Faulk. Like running backs, they're great running backs. Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, like some of the best players in NFL history are running backs. But I do think Saquon will regress. But I love the Madden cover. I love the hurdle. I love the because when it's a video game, so you're trying to get young, you're trying to get everyone involved, but you're mainly trying to sell to a younger audience. So that hurdle, like, can you imagine a little kid in the store, like going into the store, you see the game, like, Mom, I want that. Like, Mom, is someone jumping over someone? You feel me? So I love the picture, the cover for Madden. But I do agree with you. I do think Saquon will regress. But naturally, like you said, like he had damn near 2,000 yards. So in naturality, you're going to regress. You're not going to do that again and again. So, and my point about the Eagles is that I just feel like they will somewhat regress again. A new offensive coordinator, and not saying this in a negative way, because when you say this, it makes it sound like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are divas. They're not. They just want the ball. And they've earned the right to get the ball. Whereas though Saquon shouldn't have to get the ball 30, 40 times a game. That first time they played the Rams, he touched the ball damn near 35, 40 times.
Ugly weather game, though. Like, we're talking about, like, in the playoffs, right?
No, I'm talking about the first time when they beat them in L.A. He had like 200 yards on like 30 attempts.
Got it. So, no, that's a good point. Like, again, I think about, you remember DeMarco Murray, back in Dallas where he really like kind of lit the league on fire, that one season. And then the next year, Dallas literally ran him so much that he literally ran his wheels off. So we definitely don't want to see that with Saquon. And I imagine that Jalen Hurts is going to continue to get better as a passer. I imagine the play calling is going to get a little more diverse. But again, what helps you win a Super Bowl was Saquon Barkley and his effectiveness of running the football. So if it's there, take it. But obviously, make sure that you try not to run him into the ground too much in the regular season because you need him for the playoffs. Like there's no way the Eagles have a shot at repeating if Saquon Barkley's not on the field.
Absolutely, they have no chance of no shot of repeating if Saquon gets hurt. I don't want to say their season is over, but because they got good enough talent to win some games, but their Super Bowl aspirations of repeating would be over if they lost Saquon Barkley. So, yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Highly Opinionated. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and very berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen. $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. John's perfect time of the year. We'll talk about the NBA Finals to end the show. But right now, let's give some love to hockey and the Stanley Cup Finals. This year's Stanley Cup Finals is a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals where the Florida Panthers, they played the Edmonton Oilers. Florida Panthers was up 3-0. Edmonton forced a Game 7. Florida ended up winning the series 4-3. Who do you think will win this year's rematch between Edmonton and Florida?
Let's do that hockey, baby. I think the Oilers have no excuse, but they have to win this Stanley Cup. After blowing the way they did last year against this very team, they should be salivating at the opportunity to get this same opponent again. Connor McDavid, widely recognized as the best player in hockey, you gotta get the job done. There's no excuse for it. Both teams coming in hot, 8-2 in their last 10 games, including the playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers easily took out my Vegas Golden Knights, so obviously I wasn't happy about that. So if you're going to take out my team, you better go ahead and win that championship. So I got the Edmonton Oilers winning it in 7 games because this Florida Panthers team is still loaded and very capable of winning the championship themselves.
So Edmonton has the home ice advantage. Obviously, they're in the great country of Canada. So shout out to Edmonton, the Edmonton Oilers. They did take out your Vegas Knights. I'm going to take the Panthers. I'm going to take the Florida Panthers to go back-to-back. I know Edmonton has Connor
McDavid.
Thank you. Connor McDavid. But I just think the Florida Panthers, they won last year. They should have beat them in 4 or 5 games. They were up 3 games to 0, and then Edmonton forced a Game 7. But I just think this Florida Panthers team, they're true, they're tried, they're tested, they have championship experience, they know what to do, they know how to beat this team. Brad Marchand, Matthew Canuck, these guys have been there, seen it, done it. So I'm going to take the Florida Panthers. You have the Edmonton Oilers. The Stanley Cup Finals begin Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT. This year's Stanley Cup Finals, every game will be on TNT. You guys enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals. It's that time, the best segment in sports. This week's edition of Let's Talk About It is the Eastern Conference Finals. variety of topics to talk about from the Eastern Conference Finals. First of all, let us be the last to wish the Indiana Pacers a congratulations on beating the New York Knicks in a 6-game Eastern Conference Finals series that ended TNT's NBA coverage. We will get to that later on in the show. However, this is about the Indiana Pacers, and this is about celebrating them and congratulating them on winning the Eastern Conference Championship. However, in winning something, there always has to be a debate about something when you win. Like, did this guy get enough credit? Did they vote for this person? Did they do it right? Did they do this, etc.? So, a couple years ago, Adam Silver, the NBA, came up with these conference finals MVPs. So, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP this year went to Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam, as you guys can see on the screen, got 5 votes from Tim Bontemps, Dusty Dvorkic, if I'm saying his name wrong. He works for the Indiana Star. Sorry. Katie George, Frank Katz, and Steve Popper from Newsday. Meanwhile, Tyrese Hollenberg got votes from Steve Ashburn, Jamal Collier, Joe Varden from The Athletic, and the great Indiana legend Reggie Miller, who was calling the game for Turner TNT. Your thoughts on the 2025 Eastern Conference MVP? Did Pascal Siakam deserve to win the conference finals MVP?
He did. When I think about this Indiana Pacers team, they are the sum of their parts. They define strength in numbers. They've got multiple guys that can score, can definitely hurt a defense for sure. We talk about Nembhard, Mathurin, Halliburton, obviously, Siakam, Miles Turner. So they have a plethora of guys that can score the basketball. But when I look at how the series turned out, the guy that was doing the most damage consistently to the Knicks was Pascal Siakam. He was the most consistent player on the Pacers. Halliburton has had some moments. He had that great 30-point triple-double. He had a stat line that we hadn't seen in NBA history before. So he made history in this series. So you understand why didn't Halliburton get the MVP? He had that game where he had just 8 points. That was the split right there. Siakam did not have a bad game in this series. He was the most consistent. Did he light it up every game? Probably not, because there were games where the whole Pacers team didn't light it up. They shot terrible from the field, and New York, had their way with them in their wins. But when we talk about consistency and we talk about who was the one guy that kind of kept things afloat, even when the ship was sinking at times for the Pacers, it was Siakam. So this doesn't surprise me. I can see why it might be a little bit of a raised eyebrow for some people, because your first thought is Halliburton's kind of the headliner of the Pacers, if you will. I can't call him a superstar, but he's the star headline, if you will, of the Pacers. But Siakam's been the most consistent. And again, he's the guy that has NBA Finals experience going into these NBA Finals versus the OKC Thunder.
Yes, he does. Let me say this. That 2019 Toronto Raptors team,
yep.
As time progresses, that might be one of the best teams to win a championship. If you look at the people that was on that team, I'm not talking about all time. Of course, they're not the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls. They're not them. No. I'm talking about just of common, like, non-superstars having a one-team superstar, which they did, which was Kawhi Leonard. Bro, they had Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Van Fleet was hooping, Kyle Lowry was still hooping, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka. They had some hoopers on that team. It wasn't like it was just a one-man show. They had some solid to good players on that team. So I feel like as time progresses, that team will get the respect that they deserve. Because what I mean by that, they're not an all-time great team. But when you think about the 2019 Raptors, you think about Kawhi.
I disagree very, very hard. I think Kevin Durant doesn't get injured or isn't hobbled by his Achilles. They're not in this series. This series is over in 5.
We know that. We know.
I'm just saying. You talking about one of the great teams to win a championship. All right, they had a decent team. They had a couple lucky bounces against the Sixers when they had Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. You all remember that iconic shot from Kawhi Leonard. The picture is all time. But I mean, if the Warriors are healthy and KD doesn't pop his Achilles, is this really even much of a series? I don't think so. And then Klay Thompson eventually hurts his knee. He's down, and now it's just Steph Curry in a box, a bag of chips at that point. So yeah, Kawhi Leonard in Toronto took advantage. And look, I'm not taking nothing away from Toronto. Awesome for Kawhi Leonard. Awesome for our neighbors up north in Canada. Good for them and everything. But yeah, I just don't think this is much of a series if KD never gets hurt. That's just not.
I agree with that. I think the Warriors were the best team. So, yeah, they were going to win if they had Kevin Durant. If they had Klay Thompson, they would win fully. They didn't even have him. They didn't even have that fully in that series. But I'm just saying the fact is that Toronto did win. I'm just saying when you think about that Toronto team, they just talk about, man, yo, I heard people say Kawhi used Toronto as a layover to get to LA. Like, damn, they did win a championship. Like that, those guys should be. Pascal Siakam is a hell of a player. OG Anunoby is a hell of a player. Fred VanVleet is a hell of a player. Like, those guys can hoop. Serge Ibaka was good. Marc Gasol was on his last legs, but he was still good. So that they had a good team on that team. That's all I'm saying. They just weren't a one-man team, how the media tries to make them out to be when they won that championship.
That's fair.
As far as your point about Siakam and Hallenberg, bro, the great thing about us is, like, we're not going to fake it to make it. Like, we're not going to come up here and, ladies and gentlemen, give y'all some bullshit like, yeah, well, I disagree and I really don't disagree. Bro, you're 100% right. Pascal Siakam in the series against the Knicks. Game 1, he had 17, 5, and 6. Game 2, 39, 5, and 3. Game 3, 17, 4, and 2. Game 4, 35, and 2. Game 5, 15, 6, and 5. Game 6, 31, 5, and 3. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you Tyrese Halliburton stats in a second. But if I give y'all all the stats, he had 39 in game 2. The Pacers won. He had 30 in game 4. The Pacers won. He had 31 in game 6. The Pacers won. That's the conference finals MVP. He deserved it. Meanwhile, Tyrese Halliburton, he started off the series hot. He had 31 and 11 in the first game. He had 14 and 11 in the second game. He had 20 and 7 in the third game. He had a triple-double in game 4. They both played good in game 4. He had 32, 12, and 15. He was the best player on the court in game 4. Game 5, he was 8, 6, and 2. Game 6, 21, 13 assists, 6 rebounds. Like you said, he lost the conference finals in game 5. He had to be more aggressive. He shot the ball 7 times. Like, you got to be better than that. Even if you have the closeout game in Indiana, which they did in game 6, you have to be better than that. You can't just shoot the ball 5 times. You got to give me more than 8 points. And that was just
let's ask James Harden about that. And not having no closeout game, you only attempt so many shots. He can relate.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, that's why I'll never pick the Clippers to win the NBA Finals, to make the NBA Finals as long as they have James Harden.
That's why you jumped off the Clippers bandwagon. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I gotta go. San Antonio. I'm getting the ring call from that San Antonio area code. We're gonna see what they do during the offseason. Might need to reside back down there. I got you. But he had his lowest assist game too in game 5. 6 assists, Tyrese Halliburton. So I agree with you. Pascal Siakam deserved the conference finals MVP.
And right there, sorry to cut you off again, but right there is why we struggle to anoint Tyrese Halliburton as a superstar. You can't do that in the playoffs in a closeout scenario. Not that. I mean, if you get 8 points, 6 assists, but you attempted 20-something shots and you had 7, 8 turnovers. All right, you just had a bad game. You had a bad night. But it's not for lack of aggression or trying to make something happen. He was just way too passive. And it's like, you can't do that in a closeout scenario, and then we're putting you in that stratosphere. That's all we're talking about.
I got trouble with Anthony Edwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding off the rights of calling anyone a superstar. Let me say
it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Why do we got to make everybody a superstar?
Yeah, say it with your chest, bro.
No, but I'm asking, why do we got to make everybody a superstar? As of right now, Tyrese Halliburton is not a superstar. As of right now, things can change, but as of right now, he's not a super. Why do we got to, just because you're the best player on the team doesn't necessarily mean you're a superstar.
Facts.
And I don't even know if Tyrese Halliburton is the best player on Indiana. You can make a case of Pascal Siakam. So it's like, is Pascal Siakam a superstar? No, he's not. He's a very, very good player. It's nothing wrong with being a very, very good player, a star. We don't got to make everybody a superstar. Can we stop? Please, stop doing it. Not you, bro. You know that. But just
I agree.
Sports media, stop. We don't have to make everybody a superstar. Let's see what OKC do in the finals. I think most people think Shea is a superstar, but let's see what he does in the final. What if they lose to the Pacers? Then what? Are we going to change our opinion? Let's let it play out, and then we can, do this superstar star talk. But Hallenberg should get his credit. He was valuable piece to the Pacers. Again, he's the best or second best player, however you rank them. And the Pacers went to the conference finals last year. He didn't, and he got hurt. So they got swept. So again, man, congratulations to the Indiana Pacers on making the finals. Congratulations to Tyrese Halliburton. I said Tyrese Halliburton. I'm sorry. Congratulations to Pascal Siakam on winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Now, as far as that series, we mentioned the winners, the Indiana Pacers. Now we have to get to the losing side, which is the New York Knicks. Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see on your screen, an article came out from The Athletic. Fred Katz, J.L. Edwards III. Knicks players and coaches expressed frustrations with Karl Anthony Towns' defense and felt he was executing coverages incorrectly with no explanation as to why. Players felt Karl Anthony Towns did not grasp the importance of defense. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, I can take it.
Okay.
For starters, before I even get to Cat, I want to shift my focus to Tom Thibodeau. A lot of people are saying that. I'm sorry. There's some rumbling from Knicks fans wondering if Tom Thibodeau is really the guy that can get the Knicks over the top to the finals. In fact, someone asked Jalen Brunson that question, and the look that Jalen Brunson gave that person, I 1,000% support, because I think it was a very uncalled for, asinine, flat out stupid question to ask. And I'm a person that normally doesn't say that there is such a thing as a stupid question. That was a stupid question. The New York Knicks have been garbage for the better part of 25 years. They just got back to the conference finals for the first time since the year 2000. I was 9 years old. So we're talking about Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, those guys that were playing, Stephon Marbury, those years. So I include the Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire years, where the Knicks were fun to watch because they had those guys, but they weren't really a good team. They were garbage. Yeah, they get to the playoffs. That's fine. Probably get knocked out in the first round, minimum, maybe maximum 5 games. That was it. So we finally have a team that Tom Thibodeau, because when Tom Thibodeau first became the coach for the Knicks, they were still garbage. He was trying to build something from the ground up. Finally gets a trade with Jalen Brunson. Eventually, Josh Hart gets there. Eventually, DiVincenzo gets there for a while. Mikal Bridges, the Nova Knicks, now ultimately Karl Anthony Towns. You beat the Celtics, a team that no one outside of Knicks fans, and even some Knicks fans with sense, would never say anything about the Knicks are going to beat the Celtics. I'm talking about Knicks fans with sense. There's not many, but there's a few that will tell you there's no shot in hell. If we win 2 games, success.
We'll take that. We would have took losing 4-2 to the Celtics as a successful season.
We didn't get our asses handed to us. We competed. That was a successful season. The nerve of, if there are some Knicks fans out there that are actually asking a question about Tom Thibodeau, you have lost your freaking mind. You just had a little taste of success, and now it's not enough. Get rid of him. We need a. Who the hell are you going to get? Phil Jackson? Pat Riley? They're not coming through them doors. No. The only way that I would even entertain a conversation about Tom Thibodeau is if Ty Lue is available, Eric Spoelstra is available, or the guy that just beat him is available, Rick Carlisle. That's the only way I'm having a conversation about Tom Thibodeau, because those guys are better coaches than he is. I understand that. But since they're not, since Phil Jackson or Pat Riley is not coming through that door asking the coach, New York fans, shut up. Be happy you got as far as you did. Now let me get to Karl Anthony Towns. He's never been a good defender from the time he was drafted. He wasn't a great defender at UK. I watched him. Well, this is back when I was still playing. Like he was a freshman at UK with that crazy team, Devin Booker and the crew. He was never a great defender. He's a gifted offensive player. Gifted. I mean, really difficult to stop. You saw it in this series. He was very difficult to stop. But the Pacers knew how bad of a defender he was. They knew that Jalen Brunson wasn't a good defender. So what did they do? They got Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns and pick and rolls as much as they could, because they knew. This is a roster problem with the Knicks. This is a roster problem with Karl Anthony Towns. Now, the article talks about how he doesn't really grasp defense. Didn't surprise me. When a guy is that good on offense and is not a good defender, it doesn't surprise me. Now, here's the thing that does piss me off about that. Defense does not require that much skill. It requires effort and 1-2. So if we're talking about effort and 1-2, that thing inside your chest, that mindset, that killer instinct on both ends of the floor, like that pride that I don't want to be scored on. Josh, I used to be crazy as hell on defense in college because I hated getting scored on by anybody. I didn't give a damn who you were. If you were an All-American, you were the top 5 pick in the NBA draft, and I want to get some guys who were NBA ready and all that. I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn who you were. You're not scoring on me. If you do, okay, cool. You're not going to score again. Like, that was my mindset as a defender. It had nothing to do with skill. It had everything to do with it's me versus you. It's my pride against you, bro. I took pride on defense. I don't want you scoring on me. To me, if you score on me, that pisses me off. It's irrational because in basketball, guys are great players. They're going to score on you. I didn't give a shit. I said, look, you're not scoring on me. That's how I became a good defender. It had nothing to do with skill. Karl-Anthony Towns has to adopt what Josh Hart has, what Mikal Bridges has, OG Anunoby. The the grit to be a great defender. That comes from within. It's got nothing to do with skill. You can work on it, practice it. But at the end of the day, you got to get tired of getting picked on. The Pacers said, oh, hell yeah, Karl-Anthony Towns, bring ass. Screen and roll. Oh, yeah? Again. We're going to keep doing it until you get a stop. We used to do a drill in college where, like, yo, if you got scored on, you go right back up and do it again. Defend the next guy. Get a stop. Or you can just keep getting torched over and over and over again till you get sick of it. I used to love that drill because it tested your manhood. So it doesn't surprise me that this article came out about Cat. Doesn't surprise me that his teammates are frustrated. But here's the thing. Until Karl-Anthony Towns actually starts caring about that, this is what it's going to be. He's a gifted offensive player. He helped the Knicks. But going into the season, the question about the Knicks was how would they look compared to last year's team? Last year's team did not have a Karl-Anthony Towns, and they had an injured Julius Randle. They were a better defensive team because they had guys like Hartenstein. They had guys like Mitchell Robinson out there consistently. Guys not touching Karl-Anthony Towns in the offensive end. But they buckled down on defense and said, I have an attitude about this. I want to be a great defender. You're not scoring me. Karl-Anthony Towns has to adopt that, or he's going to remain the kind of player that he is. Really good offensive player, but he's not quite the guy that you trust on defense. That separates the good from the great.
So Karl-Anthony Towns played at the University of Kentucky. He's obviously a very good basketball player. I had him on my second team All NBA. Obviously I don't have a real ballot. We give awards out on my second team All NBA ballot. He made my second team All NBA. So obviously he's a skilled, gifted, phenomenal basketball player. We know that. He was never a defensive anchor at the University of Kentucky. When he went to Minnesota, he wasn't a defensive anchor. Let me tell you why no, he wasn't a defensive anchor. Minnesota traded 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. Karl-Anthony Towns was on the roster. They thought he was a defensive anchor. They would never did that trade to get Rudy Gobert. By the way, one of these days we're gonna show some of these trades that have happened in the NBA. You be like, God damn, how do some of these people still have jobs? That's another subject for another day. Anyway,
look at the finals. Paul George.
Yeah, if you watch SportsCenter this week, you'll see the butterfly effect. Paul George butterfly effect. Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. But Cat was never a defensive anchor at Kentucky. He was never a defensive anchor at Minnesota. So the fact that the Knicks brought him in and thought that he could be somewhat of a defensive anchor is asinine, ass a 10, ass 100. That's stupid as hell. Why would you bring somebody in and that's not their forte? Now, could they get better at it? Yes. That's where I'm going to attack Tom Thibodeau. Do I think Tom Thibodeau should be fired? Hell no. Like, I don't even know why. Knicks fans are so irrational. Like, bro, it's like a young man. When you're a young man and you're growing up and you see your first time ever seeing a beautiful woman, you smitten.
Oh God, be careful.
Oh God. Like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this woman. And in all actuality, ladies, we love you here on the show. But just as you're beautiful, the next woman might be beautiful. The woman after that might be beautiful. The next woman after that, so on and so on. So, like, you got to play the field. You got to see, you got to look at the chess. You got to look at the board, say, okay, this is here, this is there, this is, this is wherever. You got to play the board right. The fact that the Knicks really brought him in to be a defensive anchor is that you're not playing the board right. Tom Thibodeau should not be fired. He's the best coach that the Knicks have had in the past 10 to 15, maybe even 20 seasons. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals. No one had the Knicks going to the conference finals. We did NBA contenders and pretenders about a couple episodes ago. We both said the Knicks were pretenders. They made the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost in 6 games. So it was a close series. They lost game 1. They were up 20. They lost that lead. That essentially, in my opinion, lost them the series. Tom Thibodeau should not be fired. What Tom Thibodeau needs to improve on, playing the bench more during the season, developing guys more during the season, and, sir, you're a defensive coach. Carl Anthony Towns should understand the philosophy because you're the coach. You're a defensive coach. There's no reason why Carl Anthony Towns shouldn't know the philosophy. That's on the coach. You need to sit him down, talk with him, coach with him, get him right on the philosophy. If he can't play it, that's fine. But it should not be. The players should be questioning, why doesn't Carl Anthony Towns understand this? No, that's on the coach. The coach needs to make it simplified so Carl Anthony Towns can understand. Let's do this. Game 5 that they won in New York, he didn't play no drop coverage. Game 6, after that pick and roll, he started drop. Bro, why? That's a game plan. That's a game plan effect. You could blame Carl Anthony Towns on that, but to me, that's a game plan effort. The coach has to be better with executing and speaking the game plan so the players can 100% know what they need to do. But this is the most important thing for me. Who's the best player on the Knicks?
Jalen Brunson.
Why is he not being talked about as a defensive term style just like Carl Anthony Towns? Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Anthony Towns is not a good defender. You want to know who else is not a good defender? Jalen Brunson. So I don't know why we shitting on Carl Anthony Towns being a bad defender when Jalen Brunson was a turnstile. The Pacers were looking for 2 guys, Carl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. That's exactly who they were looking for. They wasn't trying to mess with OG. They wasn't trying to mess with Mikal Bridges. They wasn't even trying to mess with Mitchell Robinson. It got so bad with Mitchell Robinson, Miles Turner was face guarding Mitchell Robinson. That's how bad it got with Mitchell Robinson, with Mitchell Robinson and Miles Turner. So stop. They were looking for 2 people. Yes, they were looking for Carl Anthony Towns, but the best player on the team, as I said earlier, everybody is not a superstar. We don't have to make everyone a superstar. Jalen Brunson is the best player on the Knicks. He's a bad defender. That's okay. Don't pick on Carl Anthony Towns and not pick on Jalen Brunson. The Indiana Pacers were attacking both of those guys, Brunson and Towns. If Towns is a bad defender, Brunson is a bad defender. Call them both out. Don't call one out. Call them both out.
But the reason why I'm calling out Towns right now is because there were too many plays where he didn't communicate on defense. Like the Pacers like to run. First of all, I can put some of this on Tom Thibodeau, but I also got to put some of this on the players. There were way too many times, several instances where the Pacers, off of a made basket, the Pacers had a breakaway layup or dunk. The guard that's not shooting and this is stuff that I learned when I was in 5th grade. The guard that's not shooting the ball has to get back, has to sprint back, because you already have 2-3 guys going to the glass, and the guy shooting it obviously can't get back and shoot at the same time. So there has to be an opposite guard getting back. There were several instances where none of that happened. 4 guys went to the glass, missed shot. Pacers are gone off of a layup. Pacers are getting the layup down the other end because, again, nobody got back. That's, to me, that lack of basketball intelligence. The opposite guard has to get back and stop that. That can't keep happening, and you expect to win. But Carl Anthony Towns, there were a bunch of times where he didn't talk. Another thing we learned when we were young, you got to talk on defense. You got to talk. Say, hey, I got this guy. I got that guy. Okay, I'm running. I'm trailing the play. Everyone's got a guy. Where's my guy? Okay, here we go. Because I'm hearing these guys talk to me as I'm going. So Carl Anthony Towns will often run past the guy wide open because he's near him, just going to get his man. When you're in a fast break situation like that, you have no man. You got to pick up the first guy you see. The guy with the basketball is the most dangerous guy on the court. There were too many times where Halliburton just drove the ball the length of the court and guys were faking and going back to a shooter. No, Tyrese Halliburton's the most dangerous guy because he has the basketball. A layup, believe it or not, and even in today's NBA, as much as we love to run to the three-point line and its analytics say it's the better shot, A layup is still closer to the basket, so it's still an easier shot. So if a guy with the ball is wide open and nobody's covering him and I'm close, I probably should stop the layup and then take my chances with the three. Basketball is a numbers game, guys. I know that there's a lot of guys that can shoot threes really well, but the percentage is still a lot easier when you're close to the basket versus shooting a three. Maybe he'll miss one. You can't stop everything. You got to play a numbers game. But you want to make sure you take away the most effective shots that they have out there. A layup is one of them. The Knicks too many times would fake at Halliburton, and there was no one there to take it for a layup. You just cruise right in and just laid it up. It's worrying about the three-point line. Karl-Anthony Towns. No, that's my guy. I got number 33, Miles Turner. I should be guarding him. Turner's already down by the block, by the goal, and you're running past half court just now. You got to take the nearest guy, and you got to talk. There was a lot of that going on with Karl-Anthony Towns specifically. I know Jalen Brunson is not a great defender. He's never going to be a great defender. There were times where he competes. He tries. I mean, Steph Curry's not a great defender, but he tries. I saw Jalen Brunson compete a lot more in defense, and at least try, versus Karl-Anthony Towns. He conceded a lot. And there were times where he was just like, damn, I done ran all the way down here. It's a wide open three. Damn. Mind you, he ran past a guy. If he had just stopped and talked and paid attention, he'd been right there. So there was a lot of just like defensive, like not bad intelligence on defense, in my opinion. And a lot of that can be pointed towards Cat. That's what I mean by, I think that's what the article means by the frustration and him grasping the terms and grasping the concept of defense. It's basic stuff.
No, I get that. And yes, Karl-Anthony Towns should be criticized. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but I'm going to give some criticism. I'm not giving him all the criticism. I'm going to give some to the coach. The coach, sir, you play for coaches. John, if you don't do what I need you to do, you're going to sit right here beside me until you learn what I need you to do. I know it's the NBA playoffs, but Tom Thibodeau obviously went to his bench. Landry Shamet got in the game. DeLon Wright got in the game. Remember, we was texting. He put Precious Achua in the game. So it's not like he wouldn't. It's not like he wasn't playing his bench. So that's the first thing. That's what I'm saying. Cat is the player. The player should always get more blame than the coach, in my opinion. Not unless the coach move is just egregious. So I'm blaming Cat, but I'm blaming it on Thibodeau too. You're a defensive coach, sir. If you're an offensive coach, right? You're my coach. You're an offensive coach. Guess what I'm going to have down pat? Offense. I might not know a shit lick about defense, but I'm going to have with the philosophy of what my coach is down pat. He's a defensive coach. Karl-Anthony Towns is not a defensive player. We understand that, but he should have the philosophies down with his head coach because that's the head coach specialty, defense.
But you got to compete too. Like I hate this term where like he's not a defensive player and all that. He's all right, cool, but when I see lack of effort, when I see that you're not even trying, to me that's a mindset thing. It's not about oh, I'm just not a good defensive player, so I'm just going to sell out on defense and hope and wait till I get the ball back to score an offense. That's weak.
Mindset and effort. It's a mindset and effort thing of playing defense, and his mindset and effort isn't the best on defense. He, for whatever reason, and another thing, he has something. They said this when he interviewed with TNT at the Game 5 inside the NBA. He picks up some of the dumbest fouls. So, like, yeah, that affects how you play defense because you're getting stupid fouls, 1 or 2 stupid fouls a game. That affects how aggressive you can be defensively. All I'm saying about Karl-Anthony Towns is, yes, he should be criticized for his deficiencies in his game, for sure. But again, the coach should get some blame. And I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson deserves some blame into this as well. He's a bad defender. And if an article is just going to come out and rip Karl-Anthony Towns as a defender, then them same people need to rip Jalen Brunson. Because like I said, the Pacers were going at the 2 guys, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, whatever order you want to try to go at them in, that's fine. They went after both of those guys. And we just talked about Siakam and Hollenberg. Who were their matchups? Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. So it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like Brunson, yeah, he'll fight. He'll give you a heart. He's just not a good defender. And that's okay. He's small. That's fine. That happens. I can
live with that. Like, I can work with that, and I can get my team defense to understand that and help them accordingly. I can't help lack of effort or whatever. Like, I just wait till I get the ball on offense again. I can't help that.
I get that. I definitely give you that. Well, the Knicks, again, we feel like the Knicks have had a great year. They made the Eastern Conference Finals. They just need to make minor adjustments. My last point is this. They look at the 2 teams in the finals. They stuck with their situations. They developed their situations. They draft well. They made trades, yes, but they draft well. They develop and they stuck with their head coaches. Mark Dagnall with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was a G League coach. Rick Carlisle been coaching for years. Indiana could have gave up on him. They didn't. They found a way to make it. They stuck with Rick. So continuity can help the Knicks, and they just need to add a few pieces.
Leon Rose has a big offseason to improve this offense. If there's a chance you can get Giannis Antetokounmpo to pair with Jalen Brunson in this New York Knicks team, you better do it. And I don't care if it includes trading Karl Anthony Towns. It almost feels like the Knicks blew a golden opportunity here, like a door was open that no one saw coming. Are we sure that's going to come back again in the years to come?
I'm not.
Boston will be back. They're going to look different. That team will look different. I want to tell you right now, it's not going to be the same team coming back next year. The Cavaliers will be back. Indy's going to be there. Orlando's only going to get better. Detroit, we know is going to get better. Yeah. So you almost feel like the Knicks really let one get away, and maybe some of that's the frustrating because maybe they know that, hey, we had an opportunity to really do something with the teams that were down, and we felt like we were better than the Pacers.
You said it. Them two young teams, Detroit and
Orlando,
they coming. Detroit and Orlando was not the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. They had injuries to their two best players, Franz Wagner and Pablo Banchero. They are not a 7th seed. Detroit, if you go back and look at that Knicks series, you can make a case they should have won that series. They're coming. So for me, it's not as open. It's not, the Knicks window isn't closed, but it's not as open as people are trying to make it, in my opinion, because them other teams are coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Highly Opinionated. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is sponsored by Wolves of War. In some of the episodes, you can see my co-host and Ross wearing a brand called Wolves of War. Wolves of War is our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so thankful to have those guys sponsoring Highly Opinionated. Thank you very much. The actual meaning of Wolves of War is that it represents having a strong path behind you through the battles of life. With the right people behind you, you can get through anything. You guys see the link for Wolves of War? Make sure you guys click on the link, shop, great apparels, t-shirts, sweatsuits, whatever you want, they have. Once again, Wolves of War. Make sure you guys go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have a special guest on the screen. It was a privilege and an honor to watch this guy play basketball back in the day. Now this guy's a sensation, a father figure. Look at him. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Wayne to Highly Opinionated. What's up, sir? How you doing, man?
Oh.
Doing good. What's up, man? How y'all doing? What's up, Josh? How y'all been?
Been good, boss, man.
It's good, man. We can't complain, man.
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. So, actually, not too many people notice. I'm actually a home improvement contractor now. So, anyone out there looking to get kitchens, bathrooms, decks, or fences, we specialize in that now. I do, train kids still on the side sometimes. Those who can reach out to me, I can get, a couple spaces, but. Yeah, I'm actually in the contracting business world now, so that's what I kind of doing and got going on right now, home improvement, and we about 7 years strong now, 8 years strong now, so yeah.
Okay. First, let me say this. We want to thank you for coming on the show, bro. Know you're a busy man. Thank you for taking time out your day to hop on, so we appreciate you for that. Secondly, man, congratulations on venturing and stepping out to the home improvement world, home improvement game. Mm-hmm. So just let the audience know. Again, you went into it a little bit about, but just let the audience know, like, what made you get into that? Is that your passion? Why are you in it? And what can you do from the concept of a house into getting a house to where people want it to be?
So, my professional career kind of cut short. Had to figure out where I was going, and I have a couple different uncles who actually are tradesmen themselves. I have one that's a plumber, another one who does specifically drywall, Another one who's a framer. My dad, he actually worked in carpentry. Not many people know, but back when I was younger, he actually used to build decks, and sometimes I would, of course, had to be with him. Got to see that light, and it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? You out there working by yourself or working with someone, but not having someone that's, hovering above you or someone to answer to you, making your own schedule, you're really doing things yourself. It was a different limelight to see. So, I worked a couple, dead end jobs, Amazon, Centos, just trying to, saying take care of the bills, make sure everything's squared away. But I took a leap right during COVID because, got let go first in, first out at a business, and um, began apprenticeship as far as framing, and after that, kind of took off. Got our MHIC, and it's really just myself and my father. Um, we started, our own home improvement company, and it's been amazing, man. It's truly been a blessing. I honestly couldn't even tell you how many projects we've worked on now. But if you ever see my Instagram, Weezy for real. Um, Please, you'll definitely see all the work that we've done. And I know, my teammates will see it, and it's just like, bro, that's what you're doing now. And it's like, yeah, man, and I love it. Like, I really find joy in it every time I'm out there because, you're working with your hands, and basketball, that's all you were kind of doing. And it is a little bit that mental aspect of it, but, you become so dedicated in your craft that it just becomes routine. So, fences, decks, like even certain kitchens and bathrooms, they just become routine to us now that, it's not even like, something new. We make, what I'm saying, one or two things as far as like a home or something, but nothing's really new, and what I'm saying, you just start honing in on your craft, and that's what we've begun to do. So
Yeah, man. Like you said, I mean, it's just like ball. Like we learn habits, we practice. We figure out our craft and everything. We just take it over, transition into real life. So it don't matter what we're doing. We kind of already got that base because we learned the discipline of how to start a business and how to stay with it just by learning the
mhm.
discipline of basketball. So you got the groundwork. Like you said, you're 8 years into it. I'm wishing you the best of luck, man. Like so definitely you're a hard worker, as I know. So I definitely know this is going to be success, and all the best to you, bro.
Thank you, much appreciated.
So you can find his work at _Wheezy for real. Hey Wayne, we're gonna make sure we have your Instagram name on here so people can see your work. As John said, man, congratulations. Yeah, I commend anybody taking a step. John has his own podcast, the Club JG podcast. You have your own business. Obviously, me and Tim started this with Highly Opinionated. Like
Hmm.
it takes a lot to start your own thing and try to land on your own 2 feet. You feel me?
For
When
sure.
it's other competitors. You feel me? There's other people that's doing home improvement of work. There's other people out here doing sports podcast or podcasting. So I commend you, brother. Any way we can help here, highly opinionated, bro. We'll definitely do. So just congratulations, man. Best of luck and best of support to you, man. You're doing a hell of a job,
Appreciate it.
man. I'm looking at actually something to work now. So
Appreciate it. Nah,
it's
nah,
definitely
thank you.
definitely some good
Thank
work.
you, thank you. Just trying to, keep moving forward, and make sure my kids got something better than I had. Which shoot, I got a lot to work. I got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
I,
So
I got you. I got you. Your kids, man. I think your kids will be in a good position, man. You're a good man. You always been a good man. You was a good ball player when you played ball. In fact, speaking of when you played ball, as you know, me and John went to the great school of Calvert Hall.
hmm
You kept my co-host up. You kept my co-host up a lot of nights at St. Francis Academy.
you
Um,
know,
just to give your
That
accolades.
damn team was stacked, man. That damn team was stacked.
Yes, yes, they were that. But back-to-back MIAA champions, 2008, 2009,
hmm
2010. Back-to-back BCL champions, 2008, 2009. So
hmm
just what was it like going to St. Francis? What was it like playing with all that talent? And obviously that helped develop your game. So again, what was it just like being around that level of talent?
It was truly amazing. And I have one particular story that I always kind of share just to give people the limelight of what it was down St. Francis. So it was a real bad blizzard, and St. Francis is always down. Not too many people know, but they know now. It's right by the jail. So it's all the way in the city. We probably had like 3 or 4 teammates, that was close, lived close. Everybody else, kind of, had to drive 10, 15 minutes to get there. I'm driving 20. So it was a real bad blizzard, real bad snowstorm. I'm talking about nobody supposed to be out in the streets, but I think right before it started, we all hit each other, was like, yo, we gonna see if Nick can let us in the gym, and we just gonna stay in the gym the whole time during the blizzard. And I kid you not, everybody on the team came up, pulled up, and we was basically locked in the gym during a whole snowstorm, just hooping. Sam, Dante, Terrell, I think it was Terrell was out there still. RJ, like Big Greg, everybody. We all came in the gym. Pee Wee when he was up there. Um, it was just that basketball mindset of we just gonna keep pushing each other until we win as many championships as we can. And for our stretch of years, I think what I'm saying, we did that. You know what I mean? So when you talk about a good stretch of 4 years between high school ball, I think myself and Dante. We kind of up there as far as duos who was able to get a lot of championships in what I'm saying, a short amount of time they had. So
Absolutely. Go ahead, JJ.
I played with Wayne. I played with Tay during the AAU years. I know what kind of ball players they are. So I knew that like when they had the both of them together, I was just like, well, damn, like this team, like you said, like that. To hearing that story, I didn't know that. So like to hearing that story doesn't really surprise me because this team was great. They epitomized greatness. They worked. They got to work every single day, and they were just a team that I couldn't figure out. In my AA, as you know, BCL was so many great teams, so many great players. You can go down the line from St. Francis to St. Joe, Carver Hall, and so on and so forth. It was so many great players that it made you wanted that. You wanted to play against the best players you could in Baltimore. You wanted to beat the great ones that I considered you to be in the upper echelon. So St. Francis, those teams were, definitely legendary. If you're looking at Baltimore high school basketball history, that 2009 and 2010 St. Francis team better be in that conversation as one of the best teams in Baltimore basketball high school history. And firsthand experience. It's hard to beat these guys, but I love playing against them anyway because you want to play against the best because other than that, why you playing the game?
For sure.
So you played again, back-to-back MIAA, back-to-back BCL. Who in that reign of during that time, who was your toughest opponent in the? I shouldn't say. I wouldn't. I don't want to limit to one school. So I just say your toughest opponents. Who was your toughest opponents during that time? Yeah.
So I would say in my early years, I ain't gonna say hated, but when I seen we was playing them, it was like, God dang, like I gotta deal with this month today. And that was Cardinal Gibbons and Dylan Cormier. He was a dog. Like, and I'm talking about aggressive, will elbow you in the stomach and then act like nothing wrong, but you know what I'm saying? Go down and put his shoulder right in your chest and try and make the layup. Like he was that type of gritty Baltimore player. And it was kind of that like, God damn, like we gotta play this month today. But you know what I'm saying? Like you always knew you was gonna get the good matchup out of him. I would say him for sure, and then Eric Atkins. I mean, we played together since, you know what I'm saying, John,
Yes,
since
sir.
we was like 5,
Yes,
6, and we always played against each other. Like I think we separated Baltimore Stars, but we always ended up playing each other. Like it was always somebody's championship game, and Eric was another one. Eric was definitely another one, but yeah, between those two out the league, oh my God, they was definitely some dogs, man. They could go with anybody in the city for real, for real.
Yeah, I actually know Dylan's brother. I actually had the opportunity to watch Dylan play a couple times. If you, I thought Joe was a professional bucket getter. Like I literally thought he was a professional. Like literally, he could score at any and everybody. So I'm not
All
surprised
types
that you
of
mentioned
levels.
him for sure. Definitely.
Oh
not.
yeah.
Go ahead, JJ.
You want the same question? Or
Yeah, he had it all. No, you can do whatever. Go ahead, bro. Do whatever.
I was gonna say like my toughest matchup probably your guy Terrell Vincent was definitely one because I mean like this guy could do. He was a big, but there was nothing he could do on the court. Like he could shoot, he can handle. Had a mid range game, and I'm like, you talk about damn, I gotta do this dude again. Like yeah, he was one of them, but I gotta say him. Dylan was definitely even though I didn't guard him necessarily. Like he was obviously circling on our scouting report because again he was their offense and he could score on all three levels. Didn't really matter who was on him. So Dylan was another one. Eric definitely another one. Like he got two. What you got two MVPs, right?
Yeah, MVPs.
Eric got two MVPs. The point guard. So like yeah, he one of the best point guards we've ever seen in high school basketball was Eric Gaggins right there. So like I said, yeah, and even in the early years, like my freshman and sophomore year, dealing with Dino Gregory, Henry Sims, like these dudes these are Division I players, and I'm dealing with right off the bat. So it's like that's what I loved about the MIAA and BCL. Like one no night off. No matter what team you played against, it was somebody you had to pay attention to, or they will beat you. So like you definitely have to be on your heels and be locked in because like if you have an off night, them teams gonna get you. It don't matter like what night it is, what their record is. If you're not locked in, you're not ready to play. They're gonna get you. So that's what I love the most about that league back in those years.
So Wayne, what do you think about where basketball is now? AAU on the lower level, NIL on the college level. What do you think basketball is at now? What do you think basketball will be at in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's in a good spot for real. Actually compensating kids for their time and hard work early. I don't think that, as long as it doesn't get out of control, which to an extent it has, but they try. What I've been seeing is they're trying to control some of the NIL money. So I did see an interview where kids were talking about, if they're late to a workout, late to study hall, or anything like that, they can get fined as a part of their NIL money. So I think that is a good step as far as keeping it under control, whereas though the kids don't feel as though, okay, yeah, I'm about to get this whole bankroll and y'all can't tell me what to do. It's like, no, like this money does come with privileges, consequences. It comes with a lot. And I need you to understand that at a young age, especially if, you are projected to be who you are projected to be. We need you to understand this early and understand financial literacy so that you're not out here and in 3 years you on the streets. Like, what did that sound like? You know what I'm saying? So I think it is a good thing for these kids because it shows them that, even though I did work this hard for basketball, I do have some type of reward right now in my life. And if, basketball may not be for me, I have something that I can actually start from college. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, I got to pay something off, or I got to pay this off. I got to pay this back. And it's like, well, I don't even have my feet all the way wet yet. I don't have a firm, foundation to stand on. I think NIL can improve that for real. So shout out to the people that got it right. I honestly think it is a good thing for the kids. You know what I mean? So they just, do have to put things in place to where as though there is a bit of control on the money. That's all.
Gotcha. Go ahead, JJ.
And I think just piggybacking off of that, all that comes down to parenting, in my opinion. Like the people that are in the household with the kids listening to, they got to be the ones to say, look, you're getting this money, but it can be taken away. Like you're not about to just act like you've arrived and you know it can coach you, know it can help you get better because you haven't arrived yet. You're just starting to figure out, how to be a professional basketball player, so to speak. This is kind of the beginning of learning how to be a pro basketball player, which is what a lot of these kids want to be. And they just have to understand that, like you said, we don't want to see them start out like they did, and then 3 years later, like we find them on the corner around Mount Diamond Mall or something like that. I'm like, you remember that kid? Like, that's something I pray that I don't want to see with a lot of these kids. So a lot of it's going to come down to leadership, who these kids listening to, whether it's in the household with the parents or whether it's coaches. If coaches got to step in and do a little bit of the extra on off the court, do what needs to be done to make sure these kids don't blow their opportunities and have a chance to make more generational wealth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think the NIL is good. I like it. Like Wayne said, I like the guardrails that they're putting on there. Like, bro, we're not going to just give you this bag and you just can shit on us. Nah, you're going to have to earn this money. It's like a job. Like, Wayne, when you work on a house, you have to earn your money. You start off by working here to work there to work there to earn top dollar. Nobody's like, here, Wayne, let me give you $1 million. All right, man, I'll see you later. It doesn't work like that. At least not for us. So the point is that like that's not reality. So you got to work what you get. So I definitely agree with you on that. I'm glad that these kids are getting money. I know 2 people that played college basketball. I ain't gonna say no names or point no fingers. I know 2 people that would benefit from NIL. I'm looking dead at them. So I get it. I totally get it. But I'm glad that they have it out here now, and hopefully these kids are taking good advantage of the money that they're having and not blowing it on donuts and dumb stuff. Investing, doing what they need to do to have generational wealth, because they're getting generational money. Before we get you up out of here, Wayne, let's get your prediction. Who do you think will win the NBA Finals, Indiana or Oklahoma City?
I like the Thunder, man. SGA, that boy's filthy. Can't nobody stay in front of him, and he just, he picks his poison. Like he's very articulate with his craft. He gets to the spot that he wants to. I know they say, he a free throw merchant, whatever. But if you look at his game, he loves that free throw line. And I'm not talking about, the free throws. I'm talking about in his movements, in his spin moves, in his step backs, and his pauses and his dribble, everything. He's right at that free throw line. So young kids, if y'all really pay attention, a lot of older folks say, NBA is dead, but you do see, say the finer points in the small details of the game. And that's what you really got to pay attention to now. A lot of people say, the game dead. They just shoot a whole bunch of transition threes. Like, yeah, there is that to an extent. But if you look at the finer details, the actual one-on-one moves that some people are making, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I honestly, I like the Thunder. I don't think that Halliburton and the Pacers have enough offensive weapons to really overpower the Thunder. And Lou Dort is a madman on defense. He a madman on defense. So it's going to be very intriguing to see. But I like the Thunder in 6, to be honest.
You being generous, bro.
And
like,
the MVP was Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I mean,
you said Thunder 5, JJ.
It's a business at the end of the day. So, you know what I'm saying? The NBA got to get their money. That's why it's not going to be in 5 or in 4. It's not going to be for the finals. Come on now. Like, we understand this now as adults. It's a business at the end of the day. So
that's fair. That's fair.
We all know they want their viewership at this point. So, Thunder in 6. The X factor for me is Caruso. When he plays his great defense and locks up, he's not always their primary guy, but you know what I mean? Like when he's in the gaps and he creates those turnovers, they're moving. That's when, a lot of that fast break points start to occur. And again, this is, if you watch basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll see this. It's, him and then Jalen Williams and his assists. He really gets other people involved. I don't know if people notice, but they're playing like a whole team. Like, the Thunder are the Pacers 2.0. They, you know what I'm saying? Like the Pacers are close. Don't get me wrong. I love Andrew Nembhard. I honestly think he's the Pacers X factor for real. If he gets 20, I think the Pacers have a great shot. You know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, I don't think Miles Turner can stop Chet Holmgren. I don't think anybody on the Pacers can stop SGA. And
okay,
as long as Jalen Williams comes up, give us a good 15, 17, they gonna breeze by. It's not gonna be that bad. So yeah.
Got you. Wayne, bro, we appreciate you for coming on this episode of Highly Opinionated. Man, we look forward to having you back very soon, man. Congratulations on the home improvement business, man. Salute to you. We anywhere we can help here at Highly Opinionated, we will. So just salute you, man, and keep doing great things, bro.
Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all too, amazing black men. Keep up the success. Keep up what y'all doing, man. It is amazing to see.
Yes, sir. You do the same, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Highly Opinionated. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen? $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Dill's Bangin Breakdowns. And what a Saturday night of fights. I absolutely said that this card was going to be a flop. I was not really interested in it. There was nothing going on. There was nobody striking my eye. Tuned in watching the first fight. And the first fight, Dos Santos versus Elise Ardeline. These women were scrapping, and I was not ready for the bloodbath that these two women were putting on. I believe it was Dos Santos' first fight in the UFC, but actually I think it was both of them. Both their first fights in the UFC, and both of them want to be in the UFC. Holy crap. Props to Alice Ardeline, and Dos Santos. Those chicks threw down. That was a good fight. I'm going to keep an eye out for Elise because she was throwing hard for 3 rounds straight, nonstop. Next one on this fight, Belushi Okoye and versus McCall as well. That was a scrap too. Okoye is a very, very good fighter. Commentators were having a lot of talk about this guy, and I was a fan of how hard he was throwing. This guy knew what he was doing. His technique was there. I'm not a fan of the fights going the full 3 rounds if you're not going to show anything, but he showed something, and I was a fan of that. That was a good fight. Next fight. I was unexpected this too. I was tuned in after this one, actually. The Kurt Holloway versus Jordan Levitt. Levitt came out in the first round and put a submission on him and put him down. He was not getting out of it. I'm pretty sure he put him to sleep. He couldn't even tap, unfortunately, because his arms were so tangled up in the choke. Pretty sure it was like a Von Flute choke mixed with like his legs or something he had in there. That was a crazy fight, though. It only lasted a minute and some change. Crazy win by him by submission within the first 2 minutes. Keep an eye on this guy. He's going to keep going. Definitely a fan. Jordan Levitt, nasty. Last fight on the prelims, we had a unanimous decision. Alan versus Hafel. It was a bum fight. Both the guys definitely were throwing hard for the 3 rounds, but none of them gave me enough to tune into it. First fight on the main card, didn't care about it either. Both the guys, they threw it, but they didn't throw it enough for me to keep an eye out on them. Zachary Reese is pretty good. I've watched him fight a few times. That's who was the start of the prelims. He won his last fight. He's a good fighter. I'll give it to him. He has 5 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, and 7 first-round finishes. That guy is definitely a tank and a beast in the middleweight division. Keep an eye out for him. Zachary Reese, big guy. This next women's fight was actually pretty crazy. Both these women, and holy crap, both these women threw down for the whole entire 15 minutes. I was impressed by Vera and Macy Chisan. Crazy names from these women. But I was very impressed between this women's fight in the featherweight division. Both these chicks came out doing something dirty, throwing nonstop. Definitely bloodbath. Macy was pretty beat up and bloody. Every time she would do something impressive, she would smile. And she knew that she did something impressive when she smiled. And I believe Ketlin called on to that at one point. And every time she smiled, she would come back quick with a strike, throwing Macy off guard. But that was a very good fight. I'm a fan of both those women. Ketlin won. I was happy. Next fight in, though, my guy Dustin Jacoby. He beat up Bruno Lopez. He knocked Bruno Lopez out in the first round. Dustin Jacoby did not stop swinging this whole time. Let's see how many strikes he threw in this whole fight right here. Significant strikes. He 17%, 29 significant strikes, and he knocked him out on the 29th hit. That was a crazy knockout. The crowd went crazy. Dustin Jacoby has always been a banger. He's on a 2-fight win streak now, and he's definitely up there in the guys to keep an eye on. They call him Dustin the Hanyak Jacoby. But like I said, I've always been a fan of him. Dustin Jacoby's up there. Keep an eye out for him. Even though the heavyweight division stacked, we still don't even know what's going on in the heavyweight division. People retiring, people not want to fight, and people fighting. I'm not sure. But yeah, Dustin Jacoby, he came to get it done. We're going to call this the co-main event because the main event didn't happen. So Billy Ray Goff versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Pretty crazy fight also. First round submission. Billy Ray Goff got choked out. It was quick too. They were definitely throwing hands in the first couple minutes, and Ramiz got him down. And once he got him down, it was all good. He put him to sleep. Like, I believe Billy Ray Goff couldn't even tap either because he was so twisted up, and he just went. Well, true warriors don't tap anyway; they go to sleep. As Hamzat Shemaev said, and all of Islam Makhachev said, "Why would you go to sleep in front of why would you tap in front of your fans and your family? Go to sleep. Be a real warrior." And Billy Ray Goff, I guess I'll call him a real warrior, and got put to sleep in the first round by Ramiz. And he got performance of the night. Ramiz, that was crazy. Like I said, first round, quick, submitted him, didn't even give him time to tap. Good night. Keep an eye on them. Welterweight division's always stacked, though. Keep an eye on Ramiz. Big fan. Main event. The main event between Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber did not happen, unfortunately. But the main event, a.k.a. co-main event, between Gamrot and Ludovic Klein, that was a pretty good fight. Both them guys were scrapping. Gamrot won. They went the full 15 minutes. I would have liked to see a more wrestling between one of them. It was pretty stand-up the whole entire time. Let's see if we can get significant strikes for this fight between both of them, because I don't think either of them really threw that much. Significant strikes, yeah. 110 and 74 in 15 minutes between these guys. 0 knockdowns, 0 submission attempts, 0 takedowns by Klein. That's why Gamrot won. He had 6 submissions. It was pretty good, though. Good fan of that one. Gamrot's always been good. Always watching him. Main event, though, Macy Barber and Blanchfield did not happen due to Macy Barber having medical issues. For the past year, I'd say she's had stomach issues and medical issues, and she did weigh in heavy. I believe her and Blanchfield were going to do a catch weight with a couple more pounds because Macy Barber couldn't make weight. But we didn't know until right when the main event was about to start that there was no main event, which is pretty crazy because it usually doesn't happen like that. There's usually some kind of tail a couple hours in advance. They may even try to get somebody else to sub in, but that's a shame. Macy Barber, we wish her the best. She's a great fighter. I would love to see Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. I feel bad for Blanchfield because she did probably a 10 to 15-week training camp nonstop, ready to fight, and 10 minutes before the fight's called off. That does suck, but I'd love to see both them fight. The real fight, though, is this Saturday, UFC 316 for O'Malley versus Merab. All right, now, we already know they're going to do something crazy in this card. It's in New Jersey. It's fan favorited all over. We want to see this rematch between these two guys the whole entire time since they were both chirping. Crazy card, prelims. You got Chaos Williams on there versus Andres Gustafsson. That's a crazy fight. We got Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Acosta. That's a crazy fight, all ranked. The next fight in, we got Azamat. Don't get me pronouncing his last name. Zakana versus Brenson Ribeiro. That's a ranked fight. Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van. That's a ranked fight. Vincent Luque versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, I'd say, is a stepping stone now and should not even. Yeah, I mean, he's going to probably get a rank. Maybe I don't think he's going to beat Vincent Luque. Vincent Luque's nasty. Just looking at his picture in the UFC fight, he's nasty. He did lose to Joaquin Buckley a couple fights ago, but he did beat Gorimbo his last fight, so he's coming off a win. Kevin Holland, I'm pretty sure, is coming off a couple losses. His last couple. Oh, he won his last one against Nelson, but a couple losses before that. I think I'm going to count Kevin Holland out. Next fight in, we got Mario Batista versus. I'm not sure what's going on here. Patchy Mix. I believe this is this guy's first fight in the UFC. They needed somebody to get this division popping, I guess. even though the bantamweight division's already popping, nobody's taking the belt from either the guys in the top 3 right now in the bantamweight, O'Malley and Merab. But I'm excited for this. Mario Batista's a crazy fighter. He's a crazy fast fighter. I'm pretty sure O'Malley beat him up already, but that's a crazy fight to watch out for. The Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Piper, 3 fights from the top, is crazy also. I think Kelvin Gastelum has washed up. Joe Piper is my guy. I've been saying this about Joe Piper. He's coming off a win versus Barlow. He beat him up. He did lose against Hermanson before that. He beat up Alashan before that, though. Joe Piper's my guy. He's a well-rounded fighter. His odds are in his favor. I've got the favor in Piper. Screw Gastelum. Stepping Stone. A couple stepping stones on this card. Before this show's over, I'll give you my top 5 rundown in case you guys want this for picks. But the co-main event on this one, let's go women. Kayla Harrison is like a 4-time judo champion. She's an Olympic world champion. She's a Sambo champion. She's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. She's a Taekwondo champion. She is running through this division of the women's bantamweight. Now, granted, she does not look good cutting this weight. She's only 2 fights in, but she does not look good cutting this weight, trying to get to the bantamweight, getting to that weight. And I feel bad for her because Juliana Pena is a seasoned veteran. She is the bantamweight champion. She's beat up Amanda Nunes. She's beat up Nunes twice. She's beat up Pennington. Her resume is so long. She beat up McCain. She's beat up Montano. Her record is so strong. I think that her grappling, overall, Juliana Pena's MMA structure is so well-rounded that I think that Kayla Harrison is going to have to look past what she thinks she can do to try and take this belt. I have all faith in Juliana Pena. She is, like I said, one of the best to ever do it. She's beat up the other one of the best, Amanda Nunes, to ever do it. So I'm going to go with Pena on this one. But like I said, give me a second. Let's talk about this O'Malley Merab fight, and then we'll get the top 5 for you, I think. I've been looking at O'Malley. He got off social media for this whole entire fight camp. He's been cleansed. He hasn't smoked no weed for this fight camp. He's been very dialed in. He's been doing these crazy workouts. I've been watching his YouTube workouts online. I follow his coach, Tim Welch, and getting beat like he did last time really put something, a spark in him, because he doesn't get beat like that. And O'Malley doesn't want to get beat like that. And I don't think he's going to get beat like that. Merab can't get any more well-rounded, I don't think, because he's already does everything so well. But the tricks that O'Malley is going to bring, I think, is going to bring something new to the table. And I'm not ever counting Merab out, because he is the Merab the Machine to Wallace Reilly. But O'Malley is so fast, so lanky, so long. O'Malley is going to take back home the bantamweight championship this Saturday night, and Merab is going to be talking trash or something to Sean about this, I bet. But I definitely am going O'Malley. Top 5 real quick. Let me go from we'll start at this Kevin Holland, Vincent Luque fight. Vincent Luque, of course, I'm taking him for the dub. Kevin Holland's washed up. Mario Batista, I'm taking him for the dub. Let's show Patchy Mix what the UFC is all about. Welcome to the bantamweight division. Third fight from the top, this Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Piper fight. Joe Piper all the way. It's going to be a knockout in round 1. I'm calling that one. Kelvin Gastelum is so washed up. He's fat. I don't know how he's making this middleweight cut being so short and fat, but Joe Piper. Come-in event for the women's bantamweight title championship, Juliana Pena. She's going to keep the belt. I have all faith. It's probably going to go the distance, 25 minutes, but Juliana Pena is going to take it. And the main event, O'Malley. I'm hoping he knocks Merab out in the first 2 rounds. I'm going to call that. With how sneaky he is and the feints and the movement and the quickness, I'm going O'Malley knockout in 2. I am so excited for this card this Saturday. This 316 is going to have me going, guys, and I am so excited. And just to top it off, I will see you guys back after I proved you right on those 5 picks, and I will see you next week back with Dill's Bangin Breakdowns. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Dylan, my guy, you are the best, bro. I appreciate your knowledge every week on UFC. You're making me smarter. Can't wait to have you back on the show next week. John, Dylan getting good at this, man. I can't wait to one day Dylan have his own show, man. I get to come on his show and be a guest, man. Dylan is amazing, bro. He really is.
I agree.
John, us in the show. It is NBA. The NBA Finals is set. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder off their 5-game demolishing of the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference Finals MVP was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And in the East, you have the Indiana Pacers, as we've been talking about from the last segment. The Indiana Pacers beat the New York Knicks in 6. And the Eastern Conference Finals MVP was Pascal Siakam. So we have the Thunder, we have the Pacers, Game 1, Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. By the way, all these games will be on ABC. All these games will start at 8:30 except Game 2. Game 2 is Sunday. That start time will be at 8 o'clock on ABC. So again, all games except for Game 2 start at 8:30. All games will be on ABC. It's time to give finals predictions. We'll give out the team that we think will win and the finals MVP. I think this has been a magical ride for the Indiana Pacers. No one has had them going to the NBA Finals. And I think they should be celebrated for that. And I think they'll give Oklahoma City a tough series. But I like Oklahoma City in 6. Oklahoma City has been on a magical ride since the first time they dribbled the basketball in a regular season game this year. They've been on a magic carpet ride, been the number 1 seed 2 years in a row in the Western Conference. They got over the hump this year. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. I thought the series against the Denver Nuggets got Oklahoma City ready. That tough 7-game series against Denver propelled them to beat Minnesota. I think it will propel them to beat Indiana in a tough 6-game series. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship, and I have Isaiah Hartenstein. No, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the Finals MVP. OKC in 6. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is your Finals MVP.
The Pacers present a better matchup against the Thunder than the Knicks would have, so I think the right team advanced. This is a team that likes to run. They're predicated off the strength of numbers, just like Oklahoma City. But the difference is Oklahoma City's got the MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Indiana is not – OKC's not going to make the same mistakes that the Knicks made. They're not going to have lapses on defense where they don't get back and they don't understand how the Pacers want to play. They're not going to have guys that Indiana can pick on because they all can play defense, all of them. They've been the number 1 team defense all through the year. There is not a guy on there that you can pick on. If you switch off Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, here's Jalen Williams, 6'6" or taller. You switch off him. You got a linebacker playing basketball in Lou Dort. Good luck getting past that guy. You think that's cool? Okay, here come another pest, Alex Caruso, another one, Casey Wallace. Let's see you get past all those guys. Oh, by the way, there's 2 7-footers waiting at the rim for you, and Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. So Indiana will not have someone to target. It's no longer a short 6'3", 6'4" Jalen Brunson or 6'4" Josh Hart. You got 6'6" and above to deal with on that backcourt. So, like you said, Indiana, phenomenal run. No one had them going to the finals. I picked Boston to start the year. I thought Boston would repeat. I didn't think anybody would stop them. But all that being said, OKC will win this in 5 games. And Josh, I gotta tell you, I think I'm being generous by saying 5 games. I just think Oklahoma City has been that dominant. They had their huge battle test against the Denver Nuggets in that 7-game series. It was a hump they needed to get over. They flourished in Game 7. It's a different team now. This is their year. They've been the best team all season long. They're tired of hearing about how people have disrespected them, dismissed them. People making all the jokes saying that no one believes in them as a number 1 seed and all that. All the jokes. They're tired of hearing about it. And they're not done making a statement. I think a gentleman's sweep for me is being dare I say, a little bit nice to Indiana. I just don't think the Pacers really have a chance. They're talented enough to get a game. That's why I say 5 games. They are talented enough to win a game. But it's going to take a superstar effort from either Pascal Siakam or Tyrese Halliburton to actually compete with this Oklahoma City team. They're piranhas on the defensive side of the ball. And on offense, they got the MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is unstoppable on offense. And then they have Jalen Williams, another guy that is a phenomenal number 2. They got Chet Holmgren, who's just continuing to get better. I don't even think he's really played his best basketball yet, in my opinion. Like, I think he has another level that he can get to. And then the bench, Isaiah Hartenstein fits seamlessly well with their offense. And then, like I said, on defense, there's not a weakness there. You can't pick on anybody. So I say Thunder win this in 5, and they get their first championship.
Who's the MVP?
MVP SGA. He's been the best player in the game all season long. He's going to cap it off with a Finals MVP.
So we agree. We just differ on the winner of the finals. We just we differ on the games. Yeah, I think Indiana make this more of a series than what people think. I don't think this will be a blowout all the way. I think you'll see at times the Thunder is the better team, but I don't think it'll be a blowout all the way. But I think Indiana, man, they got some moxie. Every time you count them out, they keep fighting. Sure. So I definitely think Indiana will make this somewhat of a series. But I like the Thunder in 6. You like the Thunder in 5. We both have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the Finals MVP. Well, with the Eastern Conference Finals ending, it was sad for me. I think it was sad for the rest of the world. As you guys have a video that we'll play. In fact, we'll let the video play.
Take your time. Several years ago, I wrote a book called Unscripted, and I asked people to embrace the unscripted, not fear the unscripted. If I had written the script, the NBA and TNT would be together forever. It's not going to happen. But while I was disappointed and I was sad, I was not bitter. We know how business works. Gratitude is the operative word for me. Grateful that, since 1989, I've been with this company. No matter what you call the company, I'll always be Turner. And I'm grateful that I work with you guys. I'm grateful for all of the relationships we've built professionally and personally through the years. You just don't realize that until you see people here on the road and say, hey, this is probably going to be it. And you think back to all the good times you had. So I'm grateful for that, and also grateful that we have members of our crew who are going to go work at NBC or work at Amazon. And you know how they got those jobs? Because their resume says NBA on TNT. So thank you. We have been honored to do this. And we look forward. The four of us, as you've already heard, the four of us are going to be together. Our production crew is going to be together. It's going to be that same bunch. We're still going to be shooting that show in Atlanta. It's just going to air somewhere else. And so the craziness that you've seen, the nonsense and the foolishness and the top-notch basketball analysis, all of that stuff's going to be on. It's going to be on ESPN or ABC next year, not on TNT. For that, we're sad. But I'm proud to say for the last time, thanks for watching us. It's the NBA on TNT. Before we go, guys, let's get a mic drop.
So the NBA, as you guys saw in the video, the NBA on TNT has finished. It's over. There will be no more NBA on Turner. NBA has been on TNT for 35 years. Just to show you how old I am 32. So the NBA was been on TNT 3 years before I was born. So that would be 1990. NBA started on TNT. That's all I know watching the NBA. Is watching the NBA on Turner. Obviously, the NBA has been on different stations. CBS, NBC, ABC, ESPN. Now the NBA be on Amazon, different platforms, Peacock. But all I know is the NBA on TNT. I think, obviously, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, they get the credit. But, it's the guys that announce the games, like the Kevin Harlams, the Chris Webbers. I know most people don't like Reggie Miller, but I'll throw his name in there. Reggie Miller, Steve Kerr. Back in the day, Doc Rivers, Doug Collins, those guys really made the network what it was. Obviously, along with EJ, Kenny, Charles, and then they obviously added Shaq. So it was just a bitter, sad day for me because bittersweet day because the NBA on TNT, I mean, they really got synonymous with that. It's like when you think of college football, you used to think of the SEC. It was on CBS. Now it's on ESPN. But the SEC got synonymous with CBS. The Big East got synonymous back in the day with Georgetown, Syracuse, Louisville, those teams. The coaches from Lou Carnesecchi to John Thompson, Jim Boeheim, those guys. So bittersweet. Hopefully, with Inside the NBA moving to ESPN and ABC, hopefully ESPN and ABC don't destroy it. But I just thought TNT had the best NBA coverage. And now you basically take the best NBA coverage and now you try to disperse it to NBC, Amazon, and ESPN. It's just different. So.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything you said right there. Just the end of an amazing era. I just, like you, I grew up watching the NBA on TNT. Shaq made me laugh every time I watched him. From the time he fell on live on set, a lot of people thought it was staged. I was like, I didn't believe it was staged. I thought like Shaq really fell and like on his face. Like that's something I'll never forget. Like I still laugh at it to this day. But you think about you listen to some legends there. Marv Albert, and then obviously the late great Craig Sager. There was a picture with him with our guy Kobe Bryant. Doing an interview with him, and we just you feel emotional because it's like you grew up knowing that show. And now it's just gonna be different. It's time to move for everyone to move on. Thankfully, they're still gonna be on TV. That's one thing I find a silver lining in is that we're still gonna have these guys on TV. The crew's gonna stay together. That's a silver lining that I find with that. Because these guys are magical on TV. They make it better. 2025 brings a lot of change. We're no longer going to have the NBA on TNT. College Game Day. You mentioned that. Lee Corso's this is his final season coming up. The great Lee Corso. All those years that with the headgear and everything, he was the symbol of that. And so now we're reaching the end of that. And like you said, it's a real bittersweet day. Change is coming. They say change is good, but sometimes it's hard to move on from like what you're used to. So it's gonna be a different look. It's gonna be a different day, but you got this guy gotta be thankful and just look back on all the great memories you had from that show. Shows like that lift you up when you're having a bad day. So that's something that you can always remember and definitely keep close to you forever.
I don't know if you feel this way, but like we both got shows, and like the best feeling in the world is when people say they watch you. Like I had that happen to me a couple days ago. He was like, "Man, I was out somewhere, and somebody I know that we familiar with each other." He was like, "Man, I watch you every week. I love that episode when I had to apologize to Anthony Evans." He was like, people in the sports media don't do that. Like they just go along with it as long as they can. And like, that really made me feel good. Like the best compliment I get is when people say they watch me or they watch, not me, watch us. It's not me, it's us. They watch us. It's like, yo, or like people be like, yo, you got a good, like you have great chemistry with Tim. I love Tim. Tim is not being replaced. But someone told me, he's like, yo, your chemistry with John, bro, I can tell y'all locked in. You feel me? So it's like that's the best compliment I get. And I can just like creating Highly Opinionated was part of Inside the NBA. Because you sit around with your boys and you just talking about sports, you're just having a good time, you laughing, you smiling. And like I'm sure that's what you want Club JG to be, and that's what I want this to be. Like I want it to be people coming and you laughing. Like, yeah, we can have heated debates, that's fine, but you want people to smile, laugh, have a good time. Like I enjoy watching this. I want to come on the show. That's another thing that gets me. People say they watch us, and they be like, so when is my turn to come on? Come on, man, what's up? Like you want that. Because I always like Ernie Johnson, speaking of, he always say, like, I get to go to work. Most people go to work, oh man, I work this 9 to 5. I ain't got time for this shit. They come say a word to me. I'm good. I'm fucking them up. But they get to go to work. Like, we get to do this. Like, people look at it like we disagree on takes. And that's fine. We don't hate each other. Like, that's we get to do this. You feel me? Like, that's how I look at it. So, yeah, it was just sad, man. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted the Knicks to win so bad just so it could be a Game 7 on Monday, just so they could have one more show together. But we all knew it was coming to an end. So I just want to say from everyone here, Highly Opinionated, man, salute to the guys, the NBA on TNT, man. As a guy that lives on the East Coast, we both live on the East Coast. Man, we stand up to watch y'all 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We got to wake up at 5 o'clock, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning just to go to work. So, man, yeah, that's tough. But salute to those guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys for watching episode 40 of Highly Opinionated. For the best producer in the game, for the best Mr. Everything here on Highly Opinionated Ross, for the best co-host in the game, again, ladies and gentlemen, you guys make sure you check out the Club JG podcast. The interview with Muggsy Bogues will be coming out this week. Bro, salute to you. Great interview. Can't wait for the world to see. I am merely Josh. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the NBA Finals. Game 1 is Thursday, 8:30 on ABC. We out.